Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Jennifer Nakaihe, and today I'll be sharing tips on how to write an appealing personal statement. Yes, an appealing one. But before I go into today's discussion, I'd like to give a big shout out to everyone that supported me when I posted my first video. You guys, I dropped cap for now. You guys are the real MVP. Like, I saw the comments, I saw the likes, and my subscribers actually grew, and I'm really happy about that. So thank you guys so much. Now, if you're a new viewer here, if you're new to my channel, you're seeing my face for the first time, I'm grateful that you stumbled upon my channel, and I would like you to please subscribe to my channel so that you can receive notifications when I post content on here. I do not want you to miss out on any content. So please, there's a red button down here. So please just tap the red button, like tap. Welcome back. So let's start with what a personal statement means. Before you start writing a personal statement, you need to understand what a personal statement means. Now, but before I start defining what a personal statement means, I would like you to know that a personal statement could also be called statements of interest, statements of purpose, or statements of intent, or if it's a research-based program, it can also be called statements of research interest. Now, it all depends on what the university that you are applying to calls it, but irrespective of whatever your university calls it, you should know that they all mean the same thing. Let's go into what a personal statement is. Listen attentively. Listen very well. A personal statement is an essay that is written to apply for admission to an academic program at an educational institution. Now, it is important to note that your personal statement should contain your intent to study, your academic history, your skills, your work experience, and also short-term and your long-term goals upon graduation. Now, your personal statement should be convincing enough. It should be appealing enough to the admission officer. An admission officer is a person that actually checks all of the documents that you are asked to submit for that application. All the documents, before you even start applying, it's very important for you to go through all the required documents that is being needed for that program that you're going for. Now, if you're not able to meet up to the requirement, there's no need applying, because they won't even give you the admission in the first place. So you have to meet up all the documents, like maybe your high school documents, all of the documents. If you're going for a postgraduate program, maybe your BSc, your diploma, all of that stuff, you'll be asked to submit so many things. So you actually need to go through each of the required items step by step to know if you meet up, and then you write your personal statement along with your supporting documents. Now, the admission officer scrutinizes all of these documents to know if each applicant meets up with the required criteria. So your personal statement should be appealing to the admission officer, because the admission officer would have to check all of the things you have written in your personal statement to know if they can be convinced that you actually want this course. They want to know why you are going for that course and what's actually inspired you. So that's why I earlier stated that your personal statement should contain all of those details, like your career aspirations, your intent to study, your skills, your work experience, and all of that stuff. Now, it is also important to note that different universities have different word limits for this personal statement. Now, some universities would say you should write between 300 to 500 words. Some would say 250 to 500. It depends. So if it says, I think the marks I've seen for a course-based program should be 500 words, I think so, 300 to 500 words. Most of the ones I have written in the past is usually between 300 to 500 words. The word limits can also differ, especially if it's for a research-based program. Now, research requires you to write extra details about what you want to do research about, your research interest. You then write about maybe the professor that you were willing to work with, all of that stuff. So that actually requires extra detail. Some research-based program could actually have word limits even above 1,000, 2,000, depending on the structure or what the university actually requires of you to do. If you're actually required to stick with the limits, that's why I said it's important for you to go through every detail, every criteria that is stated before you start the application. You need to know the word limits. Now, when you know the word limit, you should know the minimum words you should write and then the maximum, and then you can proceed. Now, before I go into the introduction, there are some things that you need to do is to know what you want to study and then research very well. Do your research. If you don't know what you want to study, if you don't even have an idea of what you want to study, you can't know what to write. So you have to know the proper details of what you want to study, and then you research. If it requires you to turn Google upside down, just find out all the information that you need to know about the program that you want to apply for. That would actually give you an insight into what you need to write. Now, it is also very important for you to check the website of the university. Now, every university has a website where each department would put up the details, the full details of the program, of the course that you're going for. So it is also important for you to look out for different universities. Now, when you're going for a program, you don't need to just stick to one university. You need to find out information about that particular course from different universities. And different universities will actually offer different structure for that program. It might be, like for example, you might have biochemistry in this university, University A, and biochemistry in University B. Now, the way that course will be structured in University A and in University B will be different. So you need to check out different universities and know the one that suits you and the one that you feel like will be more better for you. So it's also important for you to check the modules of the course you're going for. Now, every course has different modules that you're going to study and write your assessment on. You need to check those modules to see if those modules reflect the things that you want to do. It would also give you an idea as to what to write when you're writing your personal statement. It is also very important for you to check the skills and the opportunities that university says that you doing that course will actually make you to have. For example, some universities will say that if you study this course at our university, you would gain skills A, skills B, skills C. So you can see different skills. I think every university always puts up the different skills and experience that you would gain while studying with them. Now, another important thing for you to do is to also sit back when you have checked the university and done all of the research and all of that. It is important for you to sit back on your own, like sit down, open your mind and your brain, and then start to write down your skills, like the skills you have gained so far on your own before you want to even start applying. Check all of the skills that you have, check your experience, check your volunteer experience, maybe all of the things that you have done. Now, there has to be an interconnection. Like, there just has to be, even if it's just one thing that connects, it's very important. There has to be something that aligns with what you're going for, because that's also one of the things that the admission officer would also check in your personal statement. They would want to know if there is a connectivity between your past experience and this new experience that you want to acquire. Even if there's nothing, just see how you would be able to relate why you want to go for that course. The introduction. How do you start introducing your personal statement? The best way to start a personal statement is to start with a story. If you start something by telling a story, you actually want to make the reader know what next it is that you're writing. So you need to start with an appealing story. Now, guys, when I say start with a story, I don't mean that you should start saying, when I was in my mother's womb, I dreamt of becoming a medical doctor, and then I woke up and I told God, I'm going for medicine. I want to go and study medicine. No. That's not the right thing to do. You need to say something appealing. For example, guys, let me use social work as a course that you want to go for. You can start your personal statement by talking about a time when you volunteered for an NGO in your community. You worked on projects that ensured that children were being cared for, and then your love for children grew, and that's why you want to go for social work, so that you can learn all of the details that entails caring for people at large and all of. You see, that story actually seems convincing. So whoever is reading that personal statement would actually be convinced that you have an experience with caring for people. And then social work involves caring for people and fighting for people that can't take care of themselves and don't have the opportunity to do so. That's a big conviction. You're convinced whoever is reading your personal statement. So guys, yes, that's one of the things you need to do. You need to relate your story. Now let's get to the body of your personal statement. You need to write about your previous academic experience and how it relates to the new course you're going for. Like, you have to relate them together. Now you also have to write about your work experience, your skills, your achievements so far. If you have done internships in the past, you need to write about that. If you have also volunteered in the past too, you need to write about that. It's also important for you to state that you have interest in modules A, modules B, modules C. You know, I told you initially that you need to check the university's website and to check the modules that is being offered for that course. So you have to mention those modules. Like, that would actually convince the admission officer that you've actually done your research on this course and you want to do this module. You also need to mention your short-term goals and your long-term goals upon graduation. You need to say that, okay, when I'm done studying this course, these are the things I want to do. I want to have you want to do this, you want to do that, you need to say all of these in the body of the statement. As simple as that. Now, if you're going for a research-based program, you also then need to state your research interests, what you want to research about. If you want to research about viruses, you need to state all of that. And then if you have done your research prior to writing your personal statement, you would have come across some professors that covers different research topics. You need to mention their names and say that you'll be delighted to work with Professor A, Professor B on this, you mentioned the research topic that you might be interested in. Conclusion part of your personal statement, this should be where you talk about the university. You can talk about their facilities, you can talk about their labs. If you're going for a research-based program or whatever you're going for, you just talk about those facilities that the university have. I'm sure that most of these things would have been written on the university's website. So you check very interesting things about the university. You can talk about their culture too. Yes, you can say that you're fascinated about their culture and their welcoming environment. Be delighted to be offered a place to study at the university. Yeah, so all of these things, you need to state that in the conclusion. Then you can go ahead to say that you believe that this university is the right place for you to study. You believe that you'll be able to achieve your career goals and your aspiration while studying at the university. So guys, that's it. We've talked about the introduction, the body, and then the conclusion. That's all of the important things that you need to know. Some other important things that you also need to know is that I've already mentioned that you have to check the word limit. You have to start on time. You don't start 2 days to the deadline of submitting, like 2 months, 3 months before the deadline, so that you can have enough time to plan. And then you need, after writing your personal statement, you need to proofread your personal statement. Read your personal statement severally. In fact, I would advise that you give someone else to read your personal statement, because sometimes you might make mistake and you won't even know that you made mistake. But if someone else reads it for you, they should be able to detect some of those mistakes, because they didn't write it, so they would have more clear eyes to see all of those things that you wrote. Because you writing it, you might not even know that you made mistake, but someone else can actually detect a mistake. And if you start on time, you'll be able to detect all of those mistakes. Now, I would also advise that you give someone that has experience with writing academic essays to review your personal statement for you. Even if you don't have money to give people that review personal statements and academic essays, you can give your friends, you can give your boss at the office, or you can give your academic mentor. I'm sure some of us have studied at educational institutions before, so you have contact of your professors, of your lecturers. You can just humbly request them to review your personal statement to check if there are any things that you need to correct, if you need to restructure some grammar, if you need to restructure some things. Now, doing all of this would enable you scrutinize your personal statement, and then if there are mistakes or errors that you need to correct, you should be able to correct them. So guys, we've come to the end of this video. I'm very grateful that you actually stayed back to listen. If you have questions that you need to ask, some things that you need to clarify, you can send me an email. Thank you for actually staying back to listen to all of the things I have to say. See you next time.